Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Michelle, and today we're going to talk about news clips and how to show up on your local news station, celebrating your craft and talking more about what you have to offer. So, who am I? Again, my name is Michelle, and I run a company called the Glass Academy. We're located here in Dearborn, Michigan. It's the home of Henry Ford. It's a really cool town, and we have had this glass studio called the Glass Academy for over 25 years, operating, doing many things over the years to figure out what works best as an artist to make a living off our craft. So, over the years, I've learned many things, and one of them that I thought was super beneficial, wish I would have known from the beginning, is how to go on a TV shoot, whether they're coming to your studio or you're going to their studio, in-house person and live, and how to conduct an interview without seeming nervous or scared or stumbling over your words, or better yet, not even remembering to say the right things. I've had tons of experience, and sometimes it's a few times a year, but the experience has added up. So, this last fall, when I did 5 news segments, I took my camera with me and I recorded the things that I thought were important and that you might want to know. Now, my craft is glass blowing. I'm classically trained as a glass artist. I blow glass for a living. I don't do big fancy sculptures, but what I do is tabletop art that people can have in their home. Now, the show that we're going to feature here is about glass pumpkins. And if you know anything about glass art, you'll know the pumpkins are one of the hottest trends. Everyone wants to have them. And you have a hot trend when the imports start coming in and showing up at places like TJ Maxx and such with glass pumpkins. Now you know you're onto something. But our pumpkins are unique. They're one of a kind. They're made in Michigan in the USA. And it's important to get these messages out to the world. If we don't let people know that we're here, how will they ever buy our pumpkins? How will I employ people? How will I get to do what I love? So the thing is to write a press release. Now that's a whole nother video. We'll get into that some other time. But this particular video, I'm going to show you a bunch of news clips that I've taken. I'm going to show you some things in our studio and give you a little behind the scenes of what it's actually like to be on camera with the news station. Now, when I started my career, I didn't know any better and I thought I had to do everything myself. So I looked it up. This was pre-internet, and I said, how to write a press release. I don't have anything here to show you, but I got a press release and I mimicked it, put all our information in, went online and found the news stations, the newspapers, and sent everyone this press release. So what happens then is the news, if there's not pressing news or some big story going on, they need things to put on the TV that are engaging and local events. So you get a phone call and the producer says, "Can you come to the studio and tape an in-studio session with your products?" Absolutely say yes every time. So I said yes. And over the years, I've got to know the TV stations. So now they know we're professional, we show up on time, we have a beautiful display, and we're able to project ourselves and talk on TV in a way that resonates with people. And because of this, whenever I send that press release in, I most likely get called up for some sort of segment. Now, this past October, when I got called, all 5 stations, there was 4 stations and a special segment program that happens later in the day, did respond to my press release and all said yes. So I thought this is a perfect time to tape it because there's so much involved in this. So what I'm going to do now is show you a series of videos that I took at that time and give you pointers as we go along the way. I highly suggest you grab pen and paper because you're going to watch these videos. It's all going to make sense. When the time comes, you're going to forget the pointers. Also, I have a PDF for anyone who answers this or is signed up for the course will get the PDF. And there I lay out the plan as well. So let's get started because there's lots to talk about and lots to see. So I'm going to share with you my screen and we're going to hit these videos. You can see I've got a bunch of them here. And here's the first one.
Hey everyone, this video is about how to put together a packet of info to talk on the news. Behind me, you'll see the pumpkin stuff. And this is our gallery. This is 4,000 square feet of gallery space. We have our biggest show of the year happening this weekend. And slow but sure, you can see these displays are not set. Checkout will be back there. We're getting all the displays set up. But for promotion, I've got to get out there and let people know this is happening. Now, a few weeks ago, I sent out the press release, wrote it up, it's on our website, got all that jazz in place. And now I've got 5, not 10, 5 news shows segments that I'm going to do. So each of them run about 2.5, sometimes 3 minutes long. And what I need to do is set up the product that I'm going to showcase on the show. So each space is different. The news is a whole, what would you say? It's a whole kit and caboodle. Sometimes you have to be quiet when you sneak in. Sometimes they pull out a table and you set it up and then they wheel it in. There's all cases and different scenarios of how it's done. And so each one is different. I need to be prepared for everything. I'm also putting together a group of items that will work for every scenario. I can set up the table. Usually the newscaster is going to be drawn to one item. So I'm going to alter my speech to match that item and really make the newscaster be the star of this, not me. I want to turn it on them so that they're excited and they get people pumped up when we're talking about it.
All right, so that is the first video. And the reason I wanted to show you that one was I wanted to show you the studio and for you to understand the space. Now I mentioned it's 4,000 square feet, that's what the gallery is. We had some pumpkins on display there, but I want to be very aware that the pumpkins in the studio are matching the space that customers are going to see when they come. So I have a couple more videos that are going to talk to that. But now we can get started. We could go to the next video. This is the studio setup. This one is a little more about what it looks like in the studio. And so this is a short one. It just gives a quick roundabout of the studio. I took the sound out of this one because I just want to show you what we're doing. So the studio itself is 14,000 square feet. That was Ellery walking by. She's setting up the displays. Here are where the glass blowers will be. Now, later in the show, I'm going to show you how the newscaster did a live segment in the space, and it's in that same area. Camera's jumping around a little bit because, again, this was filmed just a quick walk by. So this is the stem of the pumpkin. We're going to be doing live demos on the weekend. So this is what customers are going to see in the studio. I'm able to cut this clip down and create B-roll for the TV studio. So sometimes when you're talking on the TV segment, they actually pop in this called B-roll, and they can use this while you're talking. Now, this one works good. The guy on the right wasn't wearing his Glass Academy shirt, so this is not a video I normally put out in the public space because I want all our employees to be branded with the name of our company. So any clip that's shown, our logo is in the clip. But this is what we do. So glass blowing showy, it's fun. This is an easy way to see what the studio is, how big the studio is. We're cleaning and getting the pumpkins ready, pricing them so we can put them in the gallery. This is a couple weeks prior to the event. We really draw it up and make it a fancy special event. We bring in props to make the studio look beautiful. We're going to carve a pumpkin. And this is the hallway where the customers walk in. We have our displays being built on the outside. So when they come into the studio, they feel the love of, hey, we've taken the time to make this place look beautiful. So you can see a display is in place there. Now I'll walk through the office door and give you another viewpoint of what it looks like in the studio. So these are the offices, but the gallery is this 4,000 square foot space here to the right. And at this point, we've started setting up the displays. We've got our signature pumpkins on display. Our logo is there. The pumpkins are all priced. And we're getting ready. So there are the dates for this Pumpkin Fest and some of the props. So This was important to show you because the next video that we share is going to be more about how I actually set them up, what I set up, and why. All right, doing good so far? Let's get this. This is no joke. I take these news segments super serious because whether or not you watch the news, what's going to happen is the news is going to post these. People are going to speak about them. There's going to be other people. Whoops. There's going to be other people that are watching the news and they're going to tell their friends. It could be like a grandparent that's like, oh, they tell their son and daughter, it's a free event. They go, they take their kids. Never underestimate what the news can do for you. The other thing is, some of these segments become fillers. They post them at different times in the evening news. The segments I did were all during the morning news, like what's happening this week or things to do this weekend. But they do repost those again. You get on their website, and then you can use all the links in your social posts on your website or to share with your e-news list. All right, let's get another video. So we did that one. Okay, the next one is a longer video. This is going to tell you what I'm taking. Let's see. We'll pop it open. This is going to show you what I'm taking to the studio, why I'm taking it, and yeah, it's going to explain all of that. So pay close attention because these items are going to be on the tables in all the studios, and you're going to see again why I chose the items I did. Now, our display here, if you follow my mouse over here on the right, is not completely set up. This is just like the teaser that we show people before we do the big show. The whole gallery is going to be set up with hundreds and hundreds of pumpkins. It's really an amazing festival that we do. So this clip's a little longer. I will go over some key points when the video is done playing.
Hey everyone, Michelle here, and I'm going to talk to you today about what it's like to film on the news. We have a press release that we sent out earlier. We're having our biggest pumpkin show come. You can see some of the items are on display here. Some of the displays are not finished. We're going to be cranking on those all week. But what I have to do is let people know that we're having this show, and so they come to it. I need to pick out the highlights. And when I go to the news, I need to talk about them to make people want to come. Now, you can't be self-serving. You can't just talk about yourself. What you need to do is show all your beautiful items and tell the public why they would want to come. What need are you fulfilling for them? For us, it's free parking, it's family friendly, and it's entertainment and education. It's free. Come and enjoy the day with us. You can watch glass blowing demonstrations. It won't cost you a thing. But this is how we make our living. So on the same hand, I'm also going to say, all these products are made here. We're a made in Michigan company, made in the USA. I'm going to give bullet points in between the value that I am offering for people. So let me get started and show you where I'm thinking I'm at right now. So in the studio, we're getting all our displays ready, and the pumpkins are not out on display yet. This is one of our biggest shows of the year. And we have all these like handmade, beautiful pumpkins, one of a kind. And we're going to put these on display so people can see them. Now, when I go to the news, I want it to be really easy. You don't have much time to set up. So I've got my bins and my cart ready. I want to get this down in 2 carts, whatever I'm going to show them. So here's kind of what I'm thinking. They're not displayed right now, but I know how to display them. I just wanted to get them out. So these are our signature pumpkins. My guess is this table here, I will flip this tag around. This table is going to be too high. If I'm standing behind that, it's going to be too tall. But I'm still going to bring it because you never know. I need the table to talk for me when I cannot, because what happens is the camera guy is going to be rolling over the table and he might stop on something I'm talking about. He might not. But what I want is if he scrolls over something and someone just looks up from the TV, maybe they don't have their sound on, that they understand what they're looking at without me talking. Okay, so this is our signature grouping right here. So I've got those ready. Worst case scenario, that's all I feature right there. Bonus is this. I've got some green items here. And on this side, I have the green of our logo and I have a mixed bag of colors. So best case scenario, this is not at all how I'm going to set it up. I will take pictures of that so you can see. But let's get started. Here is a mug. It's this giant pickle mug. So it's a goofy something or other that makes no sense, but that's an attention grabber. Then we also sell drinkware. So I've got some green drinkware, maybe not our most popular color, but still, you never know. The newscaster might pick it up and be like, wow, this is handmade. That's incredible. So what I also set aside is some tools that we're not using. These are glass blowing tools. They're old. They're not the best shape, but I can use them for display. And if the newscaster picks this up, it seems like a really big, awkward piece of equipment that's going to make something like this pickle tiny and beautiful. So to have some tools on the table is also something that the news people are interested in. These are historic, traditional tools of glass making. In our studio, we do teach classes. We don't teach classes of the products we make, rather accessories. So here's a leaf that you could make to match one of your pumpkins. We don't offer pumpkin classes, but we do offer this leaf class. This product here is called a meditation globe. And while it's not super highly difficult to do, it is very interesting. And people are totally drawn to looking at that. I've got my Made in the USA sign. I don't know, it's pretty bold and stands out a lot. I'm not sure if I'm going to have it there. I might do it more on the edge to keep a focus on our product. Another thing I'm not thrilled about is these lucite stands. However, the light will shine through them, so that makes them a good stand as well. Versus these wooden stands, which the pumpkin on top of it can feel a little heavy. Now, I don't know what their lighting is, so I picked things that are not dark. Our signature pieces here are good. I don't have a choice. But these, the light can go through them, which is great. I've got this. I also want to put into my speech when I'm talking, hey, did you know we're a world record winner? Yeah, like you have to have your lineup of what you're going to say ready to go. So we're in Metro Detroit. I have this little sticker. Here's the pickle sticker. These I could leave behind on the table, so anyone who's coming next will see that and might be interested. I've got another sticker in case the folded one doesn't work. I've got this flat one. And then I can talk about these. In each of our pieces, we give an original work of art. See how we do this? This is the same thing, just cut, but this goes in their box. So I will bring more of these little stands or prop it like that. So that's another thing that the newscaster can talk about. Oh, these are original works of art. How interesting. Tell me more. Another thing I have is our logo placement. It's subtle, but it's there. I want to be very aware of that. What I don't have is a logo over here. So I would either move this, and now it's showing up in there and our name is showing. Or depending again how it is, I might have a smaller name tag that I can put. Again, something so as the camera is scrolling over everything, our name is there. They don't have sound on. If they just look up, what was the name of that place again? Now this is our shipping table. This is not at all like it's going to look. I will take pictures. I'll wait to share. I have brought ones that I think represent our business. I can talk about this cane pumpkin, how unusual that is. I can talk about our Van Gogh style. I can talk about no color at all. And so as I'm saying that, I recognize in my grouping here, I do not have some color. So I'm going to bring little pieces of color to talk about. Everyone likes different colors. Newscasters are no different, and what's going to show up on screen is no different. I chose the purple because they complement this. Not everyone goes for purple, but these are also our fantasy pumpkins. So I can talk about, hey, people who come the first time buy an orange pumpkin because that makes sense. But our seasoned customers will buy these fantasy colors like you see here. Uh, that's an acorn. I don't like a lot of props because they can get busy in the background, but I do feel this lends a blend of color and it's not just so like here are the pumpkins on the table. So I'm going to take those with me. They're really thin. I can just take a pair of scissors and cut this. So not only am I taking product, I'm also taking a toolbox. In my case, it's a small suitcase that has props, it has scissors, it has little bells and whistles inside of it, like twist ties and things like that, so that I can use that. This right here, this pumpkin, you want to take all the price tags off. On the news, you do not want to be tied to saying something accidentally like, oh, this pumpkin's only $34. And really it's $340. Like you got to be very careful of that. So I highly suggest you practice your speech, knowing what each of your items are. And we're looking at them from the front. When we actually do this news piece, I'm going to be on this side. So I want to think about my speech. People read in our country from left to right. So even though this is on our right now, I'm going to start with like, yeah, crazy pickle mug. This is what we do during the year, but here's our signature pumpkin, blah, 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 blah. Oh, and then we also have these fantasy ones and these gorgeous, beautiful ones. Now, depending on the newscaster, they might have enough language where they stop right here and we don't even get to this other stuff. And so that's why it's important to have it and it's represented. But if you don't get to talk about it, the news camera has shown it, and that's okay. All right, again, this stand is high, but there's some branding on it. So if I spin it around, I'll have that on the other side. I'm also being very aware that my clothing does not flash. I've got my acorn pin and my logo. And our theme shirt is orange, so that's going to be great. I'm going to wear that. Then I've also got wash and paper towel because I guarantee, like this one to me isn't super clean. You'll get there, something will happen, someone will spill something, and you always want something to be able to wipe up. On a final note, sometimes we have these interesting colors or patterns when we photograph. I'm just going to bring that particular tile along. And what I'm debating on next is the fabric. This is a gray fabric, and I don't want their glass table or the colors of the news station to reflect through my table. Now, sometimes they tell me I can't put a tablecloth on, but I'm going to bring one all the same. And I brought this gray out. It's not doing these pumpkins any justice. The color is not right. So I have this much better, just some simple burlap, which I can also cut if they tell me, no, you can't have that on the full table, but you could hang a little piece of it, or I could cut a little piece just under this. Then I can lickety split, cut that up. And last, I have this green. Again, this is pretty busy to be on TV, but if I put the green down and maybe that's just over the edge and then the burlap is there, that might work really well. Right now we're on this beautiful wood table, but that's probably not what they're going to have there. All right, that's my first run of how to do displays. I'm going to show you again. Oh, here's another thing. I take pictures of all of this. I want to know what I have in my bins because sometimes when you get there, the news people will be like, hey, can I help you unwrap? And you're like, sure, because you only have 10 minutes to set up your display. So I might quickly say, yeah, unwrap that bin, get everything on the table for me. And then I'll go from there. Another trick to packing your bins is make sure all your product is on the bottom. And then towards the top, you want to have your accessories. so that the first thing that I pull out is going to be this burlap, and I can decide if I'm getting that on the table or not. I'll have this in my little suitcase that I carry and all these extras. And I typically set up almost full scale so that I know exactly what I have and what I don't have. And right now, this is maybe 6 feet of this table. So I know I can get pretty big. And I like the height difference. But again, sometimes the cameramen come on and they won't let you do this. So I don't mind these actually on the clear because these are all so natural. So I'm going to leave those on the clear. I do think I want this mug to be raised. So I'm going to see if I don't start with something raised there for the mug. And personally, this is really jarring compared to the colors. So this might go on the very edge of the table, somewhere by the handmade tools. Because when cameras come and scoop over your table, they don't look like humans do. They kind of tend to come at this angle and it gets really weird. All right, Chris has let me know that Etta the cat is back inside, which is great. And I'm gonna stop here, get this stuff packed up, practice my speech on the way home. All right, see you on the next video.
Okay, that was a lot of information. How'd you like that? Um, it's a ton of information. I do have this all written down for you and I will share it with you because there's so many things to think about. I've done this enough now that, again, the reason I take so long to spread it out and lay everything out is I really want to think about how I'm going to speak. Now, I was looking at it forward and the green pickle mug was on the left, but again, when you spin around, that pickle mug is going to be the attention grabber. The cameraman's going to go from left to right. And I need to be able to speak on every one of those points. Over the years, another thing I've noticed is the newscasters, sometimes they're really good and engaged and want to promote you well. Sometimes they're distracted by something going on in the news or on their own personal life, and they fixate on one item and it's like something you didn't even think of, or it's a prop, or maybe not your favorite item. What you have to do is practice your speech over and over in your mind, out loud, whatever it takes, so that if they get derailed and don't talk about the item that you thought they were going to talk about, you have enough speech about the item you do want to talk about, and that you can swing them back around into the items that you want to get, the points you want to get across. Let me give you a quick example of that. One time we had a newscaster was talking, and there was this retired newscaster that dropped in that day, and he felt like he could drop in every live segment and no one would stop him. So all of a sudden he jumped in my news segment. He's like, "Hey, what's this stuff?" And just like went off and totally derailed the whole segment. But I was able to pop in enough and say things like, "Yeah, because I've got my pens. We're the Glass Academy. Are you going to come to our Dearborn studio, Charlie, and see what we're doing?" So just throwing a couple keywords in like that, I was able to save the segment. And the table again spoke for itself because it had the paperwork located on the table. All righty, ready for another video? There's a couple more. So those those videos, that was me prepping in the studio. Now, after I taped that one and I went on to the news segments, which we'll do next, I recognized that I chose different fabrics in the end and did set up the table in a few different ways. Last minute addition I added was some other seasonal items. Over the years, again, I've experienced, I thought I was going there to talk about the pumpkin show, but if I only bring pumpkins, then no one knows we make Christmas items or we make items in the spring. So I brought a couple other items to keep the conversation going, and we'll take a look at some of those because they're going to show up in the video. Okay, so we saw that one. This one is kind of funny. Okay, no sound on this one. Here I am at Channel 4. Visitor parking was back there. They told me to pull around to this back production door. everything is not marked. You don't even know. So I come into this back door. In the end, I ended up with 3 tubs. I've got my car here. Here's the beautiful city of Detroit. It's an absolutely amazing day. And I was back there for like 15 minutes. They were not answering the door. It was completely nail biting. It was no fun. So, with that, I want to say always have your contact phone number on hand because I was able to call the studio and say, let me in. Okay, this is what it looks like in the back of the new studio. You've got these cameras and they're all on wheels. There's my cart. There's me getting ready. I'm at channel 4. And here's these guys having a conversation and I'm trying to set up the table. Let's wheel through this one again. So I got in the door. They're in front of my table. They're talking about the cameras because they're training a new guy. These cameras will move around and zoom in on the table. There's no one even behind them. So they give me 10 minutes to get this table set up before the segment goes live. So there I am setting it up. Now they put a black tablecloth on it, and then I was able to put my tablecloths on top of it. That's the finished table. So this is behind me as I'm filming this is the live segments happening. This was a commercial break. So I jumped in with the camera and was able to film. Now there's some kind of filter on the light. You can hear him talking in the background right now. There's the newsroom. You thought I was like in this whole special space, but check it out. There's the moving cameras. I was backed up in a corner. That looks super official, but here's everyone working around me. And there's so many things that I find interesting about going to these news segment places. Like you are so excited. You're like, I'm on TV, I'm going in. You're super excited about all of it. You think you're the shit. And then you walk in these places, they don't care. They're all doing what their job is. There's security guards there. There's the interns are there working, and there's all kinds of people everywhere. Sometimes they slap a visitor badge on you, but you have, everyone's doing their job and you just feel like you just invaded on everyone. It's a really weird feeling because you're pushing your cart in or whatever your supplies are. They'll point you to a table and go ahead and get set up. And then they'll be like, oh, you have 10 minutes. And so you're just like, what, 10 minutes? So this is why packing the box was so important. How I was saying, put your items below and then at the top, put your fabric. So as soon as you get there, you've got your props and you can pull things out. Now, at this stage in our career, actually hired a PR person. I don't think it's worth it. I think you can do everything on your own, especially with these videos and tools that I'm providing for you. There's no reason to hire a publicist because he came and just stood back. I was expecting him to help me set up the table or do some work, and he was serving his next client. He's making contacts, he's walking the room, he's doing what he needs to do. I was not his top customer. So I won't be hiring this particular person again. But I thought it was really interesting that you come to these news segments and you want support, but be careful who you take with you if you take someone for support. And we always want like our best friends there giving us like, okay, your hair looks good or your makeup looks good or whatever the thing is. But sometimes in the end, they end up being a little bit more distracting than they need to be. So if you have practiced your speech, you know how to set up your table. I might even practice setting up your table. I find it's better to go on your own because then they're a little more attentive to you as well. Okay, let's share another video. We did that one. So here's one. I have 3 for this news segment. This is right as I came in. This is another thing to think about. I did not, this one, there's my face. This one was Union, and I was not even expecting that. So I can't do anything. Once that roll-up door opened to my car, back off. I couldn't touch a thing. So this guy, I had three bins on their cart. I'm setting up the table. So that's how they let you know who's up. There's some Christmas product. Or holiday product. And there's some more glassware that I added at the last minute. So this news guy was super particular, the cameraman, of how I displayed things. He must have changed my display 5 times. And that's pretty interesting too, because I've been there often enough that he knew me. But he just wanted to feel this is his job. He wants to feel like he's in control and that he knows how to set up the shots best. So there are some times you just kind of have to let go and just be like, okay, if he thinks this is the best way to set up the shot, we're going to go with it. I'm not going to argue and fight this. What you really want to do is get your message across. So that was setting that one up. Let's go to the next video, which will be this one. Okay, before I start, here's behind the scenes. So you can see the TV camera's got the teleprompter. Many times my last name is Plusinski. It's a little tricky to say. So newscasters will ask me how to say my last name, or they might just say Michelle from the Glass Academy. So let's get started with this video. So when you're in this part of the news station, you have to be quiet. There is no talking. It's going to go on soon. This is what the final table looked like from what I showed you in the back room. You'll notice the items are very spread out, individualized, and there is not like the vine that I was talking about that I might have put in there. None of that is in there. It's super clean, right to the point. And that one was Fox 2 in Detroit. And so we're going to go to one more with Fox 2. This is the table. Now, I said this was a union shop. So this is the table when we're done. It looks like this. Feels like a gurney. We're wheeling them out. So behind is the prop room. So he's pushing that table back. That's where I will disassemble everything. I am not allowed to touch that table. They're going to do it all, and that's totally fine. Be careful for us. We sell glass products. Be careful that nothing wobbles or shakes before it moves out. The next station I went to after this one, there was an intern there. He went over some taped wires on the floor. I wasn't really paying attention and actually broke some of our product, and then said he didn't do it. I was like, okay, I was there 2 seconds ago and it was totally fine. And now you've wheeled it out and it's broken. Like, how does that happen? So just kind of be aware. There is so much adrenaline happening that when you do these live TV segments, everyone's excited to do them. I mean, they are fun, 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 fun. You tell because you know when you're going to be on, you tell your friends and family, you tell your social audience, people are watching the TV. They are so excited to see you on TV, and you've got so much adrenaline pumping that you really need to plan things out so you don't forget a bin in the studio or you're so excited you knock something over. There's so many layers to how this works. So that's why I wanted to create this video. I knew this would help a lot of people. Okay, I got a couple more to share. So those all happened. Now here's what it looks like when they do a live segment in your studio. The gentleman in the green shirt, his name is Roland. He's the cameraman, and then Tatiana, that's not her name, but there's a woman that came and, okay, here's another thing. Jot down their names, put them on a piece of paper, stick them in your pocket if you need to. I would love to say I'm great with names, but I'm a visual learner. And if you don't write it down and I'm not looking at it, I get completely mixed up. So that's my, that's my whatever. Okay, here's Roland.
And so I'll be selected for the color because you can customize these colors, right? Very customizable.
The coolest part about it, making it, you can pick out your colors, design your stem, if you want, you can pick that. So
Very, very cool. So I'm interested in this. I asked Mason, make sure he helped me pick something I want to make a draft. So we're gonna do the soft violet and then you said the gold ruby.
soft violet with a beautiful transparent ruby color. You
And then stem, right?
gold stem.
So I figured.
Yeah, it's kind of a beauty of customizing. You can pick out 3 or 4 or 5 even, say, you know, this color, that's the ruby. But you want to have a little bit of Van Gogh swirl action going on. Then you can say, you look at the stems and all, it's a 5 curler, you know, maybe I want more of like a 7 curl.
I love, you know, about the different varieties you have. Yes, there are some, you know, you can definitely use it for autumn, but then you can use year round too.
Once you get 2 or 3 working pins, you start getting crazy and you get fancy. You can also choose down here, these are 3 different pumpkin molds. So some people, very few people, not including my mom, love the 32 point mold.
My goodness.
Classics, the 12 rib mold.
And is that what we're seeing here is the 12?
This is a 12 rib one. This one actually is a special component. Start maybe this year in the lantern.
And there's actually text, I can think that up on the camera. So this is happening today. Department of Business, and then you can get out for whatever reason today. It's happening again next weekend, Saturday, Sunday, 11 for again here, Glass Academy and Deer Park. A lot of beautiful solutions you guys got. Which one's your favorite?
Okay, so that newscaster was awesome. And why? For many, many reasons, and I'll go over it. First off, I want you to notice it's black outside. These are exterior windows. And this was the live segment. I've got 2 more to show you in that series. The live segment, they came at 5:45 in the morning. Now, this is how they roll. There was no major news that weekend. So they say they're going to come. And then if the weather or if there's no breaking news, they come. But if something important comes up, I get booted. I'm like the last one on the totem pole. We're just fun filler for the news. Totally fine. So 5:45. So they're there and it was still dark outside. So she is chipper. She's vibrant. She's talking well. She was super good. For us, the show is 2 weekends. To have people there the first weekend is important, but maybe they had something going on already. So she mentions the second weekend for attendance. And that's super cool for us. We really want people to attend both weekends. But if they miss the first one, now I've got the second one. So that was a bonus segment for me. Also, she's very engaged. They don't know, the news people don't know what they're walking into. They want kind of a script that they can follow. But once they get there, the newscasters are going to have interest. So it's important that you pay attention to the newscaster and ask them questions. Which pumpkin do you like? Why do you like that one? Do you want to try it on camera? Like the more you can get the newscaster to engage in what you're doing, the better the performance is going to be. Now, one of the things I noticed there was we grabbed some pumpkins from the shelf and put them on the table so we could show them during the show. They had the price tags on them. That would be something I would prefer not to be on there because then it's not about price. It's about coming for beauty and to watch these free live demonstrations. But sometimes people can get hung up on pricing, so I prefer it's not in there. What else did she do well? Now we saw Roland on the camera. He zooms in. When she talks about a specific thing, he was able to zoom in. Now, because we were live, I needed to kind of be behind them and filming my own with the camera, and they couldn't see me, and I'm stepped to the side. So if you go on our website, you can see the finished result of this. Okay, I've got one more to share, and this is, you'll notice by now with the sunlight is up in the studio by this video because they're here for 4 hours, no joke. This is our studio cat, Etta. It's adorable, and I'll explain why she's in Jake's hand in a second.
When she goes.
So this is quiet on set. They are waiting. They have earbuds in. You don't know that. They're waiting for the news to give them the cue. And we are standing on the side. If you have an animal in the studio, I highly suggest you pick them up, put them in another room, something, because inevitably they'll jump on the table right when clip is happening. So waiting, waiting, waiting. There's a lot of waiting, and you don't have the earbuds in, so you don't even know when they're going to start talking. You're just waiting. They're waiting till commercial ends. The producer gives them the cue, and out of the blue, they'll start talking.
This morning we are live from Glass Academy. If you need to level up your fall decor, then you're gonna want to check out Harvest Fest later today.
She's adorable. So that shows our studio too. I like the live segments because you can see the sculpture we're having in the studio. It gives you an idea of the space that we have. So people, if they're coming and they've never been there, they know they're looking at a bigger building. It's not just one room. So news segments, it's great to go to them. It's also wonderful to have them come to you. Again, that one was 5:45 meeting. I think she left at 9:30, 9:45. So she's got 4 hours in the studio, the cameraman as well. We always have hot coffee available. The segments happened about every 30 minutes, so they changed up. Some were in the gallery, some were in the hot shop, some were a demo, some were not a demonstration. So we really mixed it up. And if you were a customer that woke up at 8 a.m., you'd see one segment, and the segment at 9:30 was different. So these people, this is what they do for their living. They're up super early. We are traditionally not up that early and ready to go, but you play the game, you pretend you are. So it was dark when we got there, lots of lights on, and then as the day rolled, by the time the segments were done, another thing that's really important to have is someone manning your telephones. Inevitably, as soon as a news segment is done, someone's going to call, and you want to have someone that's answering the machine or the phone. And if you can't do it in person, have your voicemail on the machine with the exact information that you gave the news crew so that they know, okay, this business is open, it's viable, things are happening today, and the answer machine answers all the answers or answers all the questions. Okay, that was a lot of information. I'm super glad I was able to share it with you. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and I think myself, I'm pretty much an introvert. I study a lot of things before I put myself out there, and I've done this often enough that now it's second nature for me. But I do remember in the beginning it was pretty difficult. It was a lot of unknowns, and people are just doing their job. They probably have, 5, 10, 15, 20 people through all day long. They're just like, it's like a ride at an amusement park. Jump in the seat, here's the bar, throw you down and go on the ride. Well, this ride, it's nice if you have some information and if you prep yourself well. Because the worst thing that happens is when you step out and you're like, oh, I forgot to say the name of the website, or I forgot to say who I was, or the dates of the event. Now, know that the newscasters are trained to do this. They are there to support you. However, you do want to have the information always available because sometimes they're going to throw you a question like, oh, so this is a hands-on event. Like I can come in and make a pumpkin that day. For us, that's not the case. No, you need to learn how to spin the words in a really positive way. Gosh, I'd love it if you can make a pumpkin, but we're skilled craftsmen, and it takes at least 5 years of knowledge before you'll be able to make a pumpkin. However, you can video us and place a custom order while you're watching the demonstrations. Come on down, bring your friends and family, and we'll see you at the show. So there's ways to spin everything. Again, I highly suggest that you get all your supplies out, you practice it, you have someone watch you. And in this day and age, it's so easy. Get someone to film you. Get them to actually film you once so you understand how long 2 minutes is. Most segments are between 2 and 3 minutes, and you have to get your information across really quick. You have to be laser focused in what you're talking about and clarity in your speech. Another thing, I wore a dark color shirt. You want one color shirt to wear. You don't want to be distracting. You don't want like crazy hair, big earrings, and big eyelashes or something that's going to distract from what's on the table. If you're there to talk about food or ceramics or clothing, you want the focus on that, not on you, the person being interviewed. So, all right, that's what I've got for now. I really hope you enjoyed this video clip. Again, my name is Michelle. I run a company called The Glass Academy, located in Dearborn, Michigan. It's been a pleasure talking with you all. Please share your comments, send us feedback. We'd love to know what you'd like to see more of in the future. And I look forward to working with you again in upcoming videos. Have a great day, everyone.